Good morning. Good morning, fellow humans. And I spell that Huemonds, colorful nuts. Because maybe that's, at the end of the day, maybe that's what we actually are. We're nuts because we think we're something different, but we're just what we are. So here we are. It's Saturday morning, about 6 o'clock. We are in Pahrump, Kentucky. First there was George Bell. Is it George Bell? Then there's George Norrie, Art Bell. First there's Art Bell. Then there's George Norrie. Now there's Love Thy Neighbor. So something great did happen yesterday. A couple good things happened. Got to see the governor, who remembered me, asked me if I was going to be at the Italian American Club, or as he calls it, the IAC. Well, that's what we call it. The people, those of us who know what it is. So the governor was great last night. The event was very good. The event was very good by Pahrump standards. If it was in San Diego, still good because the people enjoyed themselves. But not turn off the heater, but not not the same as if it was in San Diego. Rancho Santa Fe, Republican people, very different. But it was a good event. The governor did good. Leo did a good job. He accomplished the mission. I'm not going to say what the mission was, but he accomplished the mission. Success. Lessons learned? Yes, there are lessons learned. Good morning, Wadabebi. Good morning to you. So that was one good thing. The other good thing was the wraparound, the homeless wraparound. Love Thy Neighbor. Churches now becoming engaged in the wraparound because the people let's just say after a while things get stale. You need to, no matter how good the bread, eventually it gets stale. You got to replace it, got to do something different. But here we are at G.school. G.school, where our goal is to focus on spiritual things, the things that are important. During the week, we focus on the world of men and machines. And we focus on our success formula for success, where success is a function of money, times, meaning, and purpose. Because if you don't have money, but you have a lot of meaning and purpose, you're not going to be very successful. 1 times whatever number your meaning and purpose is X. If you just double the amount of money, you just doubled the amount of success. However, if you have money but no meaning and purpose, you're not going to be successful. Money, a good 6 Brazilian times 0 is 0. 6 Brazilian times 1 is 1, but 6 Brazilian times 100 is 600 Brazilian. So, what's new in Virginia, or is it Moginia? I had a good day yesterday. So something great did happen. A couple of years ago when I went to the first wraparound thing, a lot of people involved, hoping to have 11 homeless people go to the event. Last month, we had, or in December, I should say, there were supposedly 50 people who went. Of the 50 people, I would not consider most of them were homeless. And I would say there were more volunteers than there were homeless people. Anyway, staying blessed, going to farmer's market soon. Who is this farmer? And what kind of market does he have? That's what I want to know. All right, but theme of today, what if you knew what happens when you die? That's the theme of today. What if you knew what happens when you die? Would it change your life? Would you act differently if you knew what happened when you're going to die? Or from Star Trek with Captain Pike, the newest one, who knows exactly when and how he's going to die, like 10 years before it happens. I think it's 10 years. Would it change your life if you knew what was going to happen when you died? And then, of course, again, like I said, you can say when and where you died. Would it change your life if you knew when and where you were going to die? Now, as to that, it should change your life dramatically, because if you knew when and where you were going to die, there was no escaping that. You couldn't say, well, I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to do everything I can to not go there. And that reminds me of a story about death, a guy who left the town because death was coming. So he left, and it was ironic because where he left is what caused him to die. I don't remember that story, but it was a good one, good, short, ancient anecdote, I guess. But what if you knew when and where you were going to die? If you knew when and where you were going to die, you could be brave up until that point. If you knew you were going to die as a bum or from a drug overdose, if you knew you were going to do that, like there was no escaping that, how would you live up until that point? Maybe try to be very spiritual, holy, helping other people as much as you could. Now, but what if you knew what happens when you die? So let's take that to the next level. What if you knew what happens when you die? Well, regardless of what people say, we don't actually know what happens when you die, when any of us die. We have beliefs, we have theories of what happens, but we don't know for sure. Because if we knew for sure, everybody would know that. It would be to the level of everybody's going to die, right? Everybody knows. I would say there's no person on the earth over the age of 10 that has an IQ of at least 80% of the norm, of the mean, who doesn't get that one day you're going to die. Everybody knows you're going to die. But we don't know what happens when you die, meaning something or nothing, just the fundamental. Okay, when I die, let's make it very binary. Either something happens or nothing happens. No, I'm going to turn it this way. Something happens, the circuit is complete, or nothing happens. Okay, we don't know. We have beliefs, and 100% of the Christians say, oh, well, I believe that something happens. And I'm going to live my life so that I have salvation, that I'm good with God and I have salvation. And particular place I go, my salvation is blank, which on one end of the spectrum could be, I said this prayer that I believe Jesus is my personal Messiah and he died for my sins, and that's all I needed to do. I can live however I want because I said, and when I said it, I decided, well, I might as well believe it. I said, I believe Jesus died for my sins. So I have the Willy Wonka golden ticket to heaven. Now, other people who are Protestants would say, well, if that is actually the case, that you believe Jesus died for your sins, you will act as if you believe Jesus died for your sins. And you will do what Jesus said, which is to love one another as I have loved you, and love God with all of your heart and mind and soul. And if you love God with all your heart and mind and soul, and you love each other as I have loved you, you're not going to go out committing crimes or taking advantage of people. You're just not going to do it. So since you're doing that, you actually don't believe that I died for your sins. And then there's a million shades in between that. But nobody knows. So let's take a few minutes and look at the evidence. And we can also do Pascal's wager. Let's start with Pascal's wager. Pascal was a Frenchman, a philosopher, mathematician. I think he was a mathematician. There's a computer language that's, I think, pretty much dead, but I had to sort of learn it or be exposed to it when I was in college, because that was like, wow, that's Pascal. Man, you know Pascal. Wow. You're smart. I knew BASIC. Okay. So Pascal's wager was, if there's a God, should I believe in God? So there's binary. There's a God or there's no God. If there is a God and I believe, what's going to happen when I die? Ding, 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 good things. If there is no God and I believe, what's going to happen? Good things for the people I leave behind. Or if I was a Roman, if they made a statue after me, in one sense, I will be immortal still. Hey, there's Caesar. Yeah, wow. Well, what about, there's a statue. That was the Roman thing. You have a statue, you won't die. Immortality is have a statue. If you can't have a statue, have a painting of you and have your family and put it on the wall in your house. So all of your descendants see it and they will believe they have a kinship. Okay. So if there's a God and I believe in God when I die, good. If there is no God, but I believe in God and I die, good. If there is no God, if there is a God and I don't believe in God, not good. Very bad. If there is no God and I don't believe in God, then no harm, no foul. We're just atoms in the void. So Pascal said, if I believe in God, I have nothing to lose, because if there is no God, I'm not harmed. I'm going to benefit, because my descendants are going to think good of me. If there is a God and I believe in God, then good things will happen. However, if I don't believe in God and there's a God, it's going to be really bad. And if there is no God and I don't believe in God, when I die, I'm probably dead. Or, maybe I'm an outlaw, somebody that was really bad. So Pascal said, I choose to believe in God, because in two of the four instances, believing in God never hurts me. Not believing in God could have very bad consequences. So I'm going to go with the mathematical thing, that God is not, the rational thing would be, God is a rational person, so he wouldn't want to trick me. Thus, I should believe. Okay, that's Pascal's wager. You have nothing to lose by believing in God, but if you don't believe in God, there's a 50-50 chance that it's going to be very bad. Now, what is the evidence that something happens after you die. So this is binary. Either something happens or nothing happens when you die. Something or nothing. So we're here. Here's the circuit. Here's the end of my life. Either something happens or nothing happens. Well, from Parnia's labs at NYU, it's looking pretty much like something happens. So what if you knew something was going to happen after you died, and that something was a function of your life? Okay, because it could be something happens, and there's going to be another thing. Well, does it have to do with my soul? Well, again, we don't know. We have a belief, and again, we have nothing to lose by believing. And if you read the Gospels from the perspective of not knowing the Old Testament, not knowing about prophecy, not caring about Revelation, not only caring about the Gospels, Jesus's thing was, if you do this, you will be one with the Father and I. Just do these things and you'll be one with us. I'm one with the Father. You can be one with me. So, what does that mean? So we're at the point of, but we should believe. We have nothing to lose by believing something happens. What happens? Well, if we're going to pick up the Bible and do the Bible and do what Jesus said, the Creator incarnate said, if you do these things, you will be one with the Father and I. If you do these other bad things, we're going to throw you in the lake of fire. So, what should you do? You should believe, and you should just do what Jesus said. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love God with all your heart. Now, if you do that, does all of this other stuff matter? Does it matter? So this goes back to last week of having lust. I need a new car. I needed this. I needed that. Is that what you need? Or do you need to love thy neighbor as thyself, or love each other as I have loved you, and love God? What should you do? Should you lust, would be the term. Should you lust after, I need a new iPhone? Or have envy, wow, he's got the new iPhone. That son of a bitch. That son of a beep. That son of a beep. Should you do that? No. So let's just wrap it up because we're at 18 minutes and I've got to get on the peloton. Zip peloton. How's the weather back there? What a bevy, if you're still with us. So what should you do? I would say today, focus on the question of what if I knew what happened afterwards, and what happened afterwards is a possible continuation. In other words, it didn't end here. It's not this. It's this. Something is going to happen. And I would say if you are a Christian and you believe something is going to happen, John 15:12. Love each other as I have loved you. And then go to the Beatitudes. Okay, more on that tomorrow. And what a baby. I will chat with you later.